Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And so far in the world, we've had Australia, we've had New Zealand, we've had the UK, we've had the USA, various different time zones. And we've had certain parts of Europe as well. So who's going to be next? You know, if you're watching this either live or on the replay, let me know where in the world you watch these from. Anyway, today we're talking about Tuesday and talks, and what is that even about? Now, if you've been in my Vibe tribe community or any part of my email list or database or anything else like that, you'll know that my the people on my list and in my community, I guess, I nickname them the ViBErs. So I guess I should explain why. For those of you, because remember that some of you are my school friends here, some of you are people that I've worked with, some of you are clients, some of you have not got a clue what I do, some of us have just met. In 2010, I started this business, and at first I was more kind of general, and it was around training and coaching, cakes and chocolates. Hands up if you've ever had a cake made by me or chocolates made by me. Another story for another time. But at the beginning of that, I think covering all bases is what you would say. And 2 years later, 2012, I ditched the cakes and the chocolates and continued with the training, the coaching, the consulting, the mentoring and all of that kind of stuff. And again, that's another story for another time as to why I did that. All to say that at that time, I was then open to training and coaching. And what I realised very quickly, thankfully with the help of a coach and a mentor, which saved me years, literally, I realised that what I was actually doing for my clients and actually for people I was in conversation with generally was helping them to be more visible, helping them to be more seen so they were memorable, helping them to be heard so they knew what to say, whether it was talks or video, and they also knew, when I say heard, what to say and how to position themselves, I guess, and how to say it in a way that also had them remembered or referred to. They started standing out. My shy presenters and people that hated public speaking, or, you know, I remember numerous people telling me they go red or their neck flushed and it made them really self-conscious, and they stammered and stuttered, they felt nervous, they felt sick, they didn't sleep for nights before. All of a sudden, these people were finding the ability to be able to publicly speak. I mean, think about it. If you've ever had to do a presentation at work, ever had to stand up at a wedding and give a speech, you know, ever had to give a talk at any kind of function, even for the most seasoned speakers, we might not get scared or nervous to do it, but we still have a little kind of a niggling crisis of confidence which says, will this one be okay? Will this be the one that I bore everybody? Will this be the one that, you know, everyone laughs and says, what is she doing up there? Will I walk on the stage with my skirt tucked in my knickers? Will I trip up? All sorts of things. I've had all of that too. I'm afraid of being killed. You know, this visibility stuff will have me killed or see me to my death. And then there are other things, you know, people don't like to show up online. They're worried in case their friends, like close friends or family, see them. They're worried if their close friends and family don't see them. They're worried that they're too professional. They're worried that they're not professional enough. They're worried that they don't look right, sound right, articulate, and so many other things. I will do a little mini masterclass on one of these around public speaking, whether it's nerves or just having more reach or being more visible or, you know, whatever. But I do remember those days with fondness, because for a while I continued down that path. But what was coming back was that lots of the people that I had been working with were telling me that they were doing like super amazing things. One particular person, the first person, and although I've got permission to share their name, I just think it's a bit trashy to do it, but one particular person came back to me. They were a bit nervous around public speaking. They got nervous when it came to public speaking in general, but got very nervous when it came to speaking to people at board level. They felt like they might not be on the same wavelength or they might get it wrong. And this particular person came back to me a few months later, having done all of the speaking stuff, and wanted to sell a program. At the time, I think it was a fitness and wellbeing program, which was about, I think it was about £200 they wanted to sell it for, 248 or 47 as we were talking about back in the day. And 3 months later, they sent me a message and said, that stuff that you taught me has helped me so much, and I've just sold a package to the CEO of this particular place, and it's a £5,000 package. I was like, what? I remember the day because I was sat at my desk, my chair had wheels on it, my little office chair, and when I read the email, I launched myself and just rolled away from the screen. I thought, how on earth did they do that? I didn't teach them how to sell, packages. I didn't teach them how to sell something at that kind of value. So I ended up, being the honest woman that I am, emailing them back and saying, congratulations, that's really cool that you've done all of these things. Why do you think that I helped you with that? Like, what was it I did that helped you? Because I can't remember kind of teaching you anything specifically that helped. And they just came back and said, yeah, well, you taught me how to do this, so I felt more confident. I wasn't stammering on my words. I wanted to have the conversation. They asked me about something. I was able just to answer it. I was able to speak without being nervous, blah, blah, blah. So I said, I don't suppose you mind jumping on a Skype call. That's how long ago it was, on a Skype call with me, so I can find out more and find out how you've been doing in general. So that's what we did. And, even though they were telling me, things that I had shared with them had been really helpful, and they were really quick. That's why I shared them. I don't like the thought of somebody being a nervous speaker and spending like 6 years to be able to speak. Hey, Jew, hi. So that was it. I shared it with them. And then I went to my own coach and said, I'm really puzzled. This person has done this thing. I only meant to help them with presentations and public speaking, but it helped. This other person has done this other thing, and they've been invited to Downing Street. I didn't teach them that. And then this person is really passionate about this thing, and they weren't sure whether they should speak about it. And then they did an interview on TV, and I don't understand what's happening. And the mentor just said to me, Jenny, I think you're really great at helping people to be visible. So, of course, like any good mentee or coachee, you poo-poo the idea. I was like, no, that's not down to me. That can't be me. I didn't specifically set out to do that. I worked with a coach. I worked with a mentor. And the second coach that I told this to said, I can absolutely see that you did that and how you did that. And why don't you offer this service to more people? And I was just like, but that's not going to work. How can I offer that service to more people when I need to know what they need to say, who they need to say it to? I need to know so much information. It's very bespoke, is what I said. Anyway, after a bit of a nice talking to and a chat, we realised that there were things that I do with my clients, and yes, it's bespoke, yes, it's individual, but there are certain key pillars that are repeatable, that are easy for them, and if they keep on doing it, they get the results that they want. So the Visibility ViBErs system, as it was called, the 5 key pillars, was born. And I ended up nicknaming the people who started to join me on Facebook, the people who started to join my email list, as the ViBErs, because that was the easy way to remember the 5 pillars, and they're like affectionate to me. Here's why. I don't do this work for the likes or for the shares or for the comments. I do this work because the thought of somebody wanting to maybe go for promotion at work or go for a different position, but being held back by being worried about presentations or public speaking or being nervous at interviews or not knowing what to say, in fact, not knowing what to say in their professional life and in their personal life. Think dating and stuff like that, although I chose not to be a dating coach. But those instances in life where you want to say something, you don't know what to say, and it's like you can't talk. I don't want anyone to have to go through that. So the reason why I'm the queen of being seen is because I'm the queen of having people be seen. It's as simple as that. And over the last 12 and a half years it's been now, I've been doing this with one-man band individual business owners. I've been doing this with employed professionals. I've been doing it with the senior management teams. I've been doing it with big organisations and brands. I've been doing it with institutions and networks, from all sorts of things, from, that very first client that I had that I helped with the presentation, all the way through to small business owners who've got a team and they weren't sure what to tell their team, to sales trainings to help their team be able to sell but not pitch or force or persuade or coerce, to bigger organisations like the Metropolitan Police, which was just last year. I've been able to share this with companies like event companies, the Institute of Travel and Tourism, especially with their Future You, the Association of Women Travel Executives. I'm trying to think off the top of my head now. I've worked with companies like Boots and stuff. And whenever I go in to do a piece of work and I feel imposter syndrome or like shrinking down a bit, I remember that it's good to talk. I remember that it's good to talk on Tuesdays. So I'm going to tell you why I've called this Tuesday Talks in a second. But here's the thing about feeling like, people say they feel like a fraud or they feel imposter syndrome. Once you recognise that's how you feel, acknowledge that and move through that. Because if you keep saying, but I feel like a fraud, but I feel like a fraud, but I feel like a fraud, or I feel like an imposter, or I feel like an imposter, that's like an affirmation. The more you tell yourself that, the more you will feel that. It's like anything. If you tell yourself, my good friend Julian was just watching, I don't know if he's still watching, but I remember he used to practice golf. And he'd practice golf not only on the golf course, but, in the house. Because once upon a time, back in the day, we shared a house. Shouting out to the people who know. And he would practice all the time and he would say, oh, that was a good shot. I really liked that. That was a good shot. And I'm sure, without even realising it, when you reinforce that you're good at something, you keep reinforcing it and you do become better. When you reinforce that you're not great at something, it's like an affirmation that you reinforce that you're not great at that thing and you don't feel like it's any good. So why is this called Tuesday Talks? Well, it is Tuesday today, but also tomorrow is International Women's Day and I am delivering a talk along with the lady who founded, I always forget people's names unless I write them down, the lady who founded, what's it called? Entrepreneur Nation? Yeah, Entrepreneur Nation, I think. Sorry if I've got that wrong. And also another woman who works with MasterCard, talking about equity and equality, and somebody else who I can't remember. But if you are nosy by nature and want to know, if you scroll down one, you'll see the purple picture with those people's names on there. Unfortunately, it's now fully booked. It was fully booked from quite early yesterday, so there's no more room at the inn. But if I remember to, and if I get the chance to, I might do the talk and demonstrate how easy it is to do video and do a quick video and then share that with you, all 60 seconds of it. But how did I come to Tuesday Talks? Well, about 2014, I realised that I was trying to burn the candle at both ends. And it's interesting because today I've had many conversations with people. We've talked about burnout, we've talked about visibility, we've talked about trans visibility as well. We've talked about being a trailblazer, we've talked about International Women's Day. We've even talked about parental stuff, how parents balance this juggling act between looking after their kids and working, and it feels like a balance. I talk about harmony in my work, which is not one or the other, which to me is balance. Harmony is having everything work together. But anyway, another post for another time. So I've talked a lot today, and in 2014 I would get up early, excited to do my business, which I still do now, and I would go to bed whenever the work was done. So any of you that have ever been self-employed, freelance, or just really loved what you do, maybe you've always worked from home or worked on the road, you'll know how difficult it is to rein yourself in when you are doing what you love. So I was doing what I loved, and I was starting work between 8 and 9 in the morning, and I could finish at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, or squeeze a bit in, and doing stuff for clients, especially the bigger clients. I could work till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Didn't think anything of it. But I realised very quickly that I would burn myself out. I'd fall in love with what I was doing if I didn't make some changes. So in order to remember the things that I had to do on a specific day, I started to label my days. So Monday, at the very start, what was Monday about? It was Mindset Monday. I'd make sure that I had all the tools that I needed if I needed to learn some more stuff, because I really believe in kind of honing my craft, if you like. So I would read books on it, study on it, do all of that kind of stuff. Tuesdays was Talking Tuesdays, always been Talking Tuesdays. And what that meant was that if people would often ring me or text me and say, oh, I don't suppose you've got 5 minutes for a chat, or I don't suppose I can pick your brains, or I don't suppose I can talk to you about so-and-so, I needed to be able to kindly say, no, not at the moment, because I was focused on something else. So when people started to schedule talks with me in advance, I would have Tuesday be that talk. It'd also be the day where I would give any interviews. I would give, it wasn't podcasts then, it was tele-summits and things like that. But any tele-summit interviews, any video interviews, any audio interviews, there was a lot of them then, and any trainings or teachings that I wanted to teach, I would book them for a Tuesday. So Tuesday was Talking Tuesday. And then it went on like that through the week. The different days had different themes. And if, for example, on Talk Tuesday, I had to go out and do something, I would just swap my Tuesday for another day of the week. But the biggest challenge for me was working Monday to Friday. Now, why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you all of this because of my experiences from discovering that I had a repeatable system that apparently helped people do amazing things in the world. And it wasn't me that made them amazing. They were already brilliant. They were already amazing, but it helped them to get their work out in the world. It helped them to put themselves out there. It helped them to talk about what they do. It helped them to talk about themselves more comfortably. When I realised that that system was repeatable, I also realised that one of the pillars, it was important that people didn't burn out in the process. It was important that people didn't stretch themselves too thinly. And it was important that people found their own way to be able to create their day. So some of my clients have had families, you know, with children. I don't have children, but they were able to use the principles in that pillar to be able to make their day work. And I remember one particular mum, I think she was a mum of 5, excitedly telling me that she'd put this thing in place, and it felt like time had stretched and she actually had more time, but she had less guilt with, you know, spending time with her children. She was able to do that. She worked everything around the school run. She was able to take care of the stuff that she wanted to in the house, make dinner, be present for her kids and her family, but also to be present for the people at work. And it didn't feel overwhelming. That's the key. So that was a part of the system, and most things that I speak about will come from or have its roots in different pillars of that system. But whenever I speak publicly, the first pillar, the actual visibility part itself, you know, how to do it, why it's important, why it matters, and also the subsequent pillars underneath are the things that I speak about. So if ever you see an opportunity to join in something where I'm sharing, you'll get to hear a lot of different things. And then, of course, for those who work with me, we get to discuss a lot of different things and properly personalise it to them. So I think over on LinkedIn, yesterday I shared that I have some time to work with me in a day, because a lot of people I've noticed that are attracted to me and my work, they're happy to go with the flow. They're happy to, you know, not push, coerce, or, you know, force themselves into doing things. But rather than sitting and going through a big, long online course or a short online course, they would rather have my eyes on their work and what they do, my ears on their, you know, issues and things like that. And they like that we can put together a personalised plan. So my favour to ask is, if you haven't connected with me on LinkedIn yet, please do. I'll make sure I put a link to it underneath this video. please do connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm actually in the process of building my audience slightly more, but slightly differently. There's a very, very good, exciting and important reason for that, and I'll let you know as soon as I'm allowed to. But I want to, I don't necessarily feel like I have to build it to millions and gazillions, but I do want to build that audience because you'll notice newer people coming in. And I like to see the friendly faces there. I like to be connected with my school friends. I like to be connected with business buddies. I like to be connected with people who've heard me speak. I like to be connected with randoms that have just seen one of my reels or videos and thought this sounds interesting. And I like to be connected and stay connected and build relationships. So that's it. A longer one today, hopefully helpful. I can't wait for tomorrow. And if you've got all the way through to the end of this and there's a topic you would like me to cover, either go over to my page, The Queen of Being Seen, which you'll find by putting in @VisibilityVibe, or I'm on Instagram, as I said, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter. Send me a message, a private message, and let me know what kind of topics you'd like me to speak on. And I most certainly will, because I've got 365 days and this is only day 26. So that's it for now. Bye for now, and good evening, good night if you're on this side of the world and you're getting ready to go to bed in a couple of hours. And good morning to you if you're over in Australia, New Zealand and in that hemisphere. Thank you so much for watching these, for commenting, for sharing these videos. But let me know what else you would like me to share. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.